I'm going to give you guys a 2-layer bass method that's going to give you instant groove in any house and techno music. Let's jump into it. I've covered this track in other trainings, but I want to specify exactly what I'm doing in the bass line to actually create this 2-layer bass method. So let's first hear just kick, bass, and drums. So what am I doing really here? I'm going to split the basses and explain to you the thought process so you understand, and you can give it a try in your own music as well. So let's first turn off this bass. The second bass is pretty much the same as the first one. In terms of rhythm, it's just a different sound that's layered. But overall, we have 2 rhythms. We have this one, and we have this one. So let's start off with simply soloing the kick, this first backbone bass line that I call, and the drums. Let's hear what it sounds like. So quite steady in sound, playing the same E notes, and what it's doing, it's only playing on the offbeat. Just by this, if you have a kick and bass just playing on the offbeat with good drums, and you could build a song over this as is if you want to. I wanted to add a bit more movement on the bass to create a bit more flow, a bit more groove, a bit more kind of flavor and danciness to the flavor of the bass line. So let's turn this off and let's hear the top bass. So what's cool about this, just this bass line itself is cool. It has a bit more space between the rhythms, so the track breathes a bit more. So they both separately work. Now, I'm going to add them together, and I'm adding them together in a very careful way. I'm going to show you guys what are the most important things that I look at to make sure that they work together. If we hear them one more time all together, just so you get to hear both layers one on top of the other. So what can we pick up from what I've done and borrow it into your own productions? Again, the thinking here is very important. What I'm doing with this core bass line, I'm just playing on the offbeat. If we open up the kick, so we got a kick that's being played, and then on the offbeat of the kick, there's this bass playing. Kick, offbeat bass, kick, offbeat bass. This is a very simple way of doing it, especially if you have a bass sound that's naturally modulating through LFOs. Every signal starts becoming a bit different. You see it even in the wave. So this creates a bit of movement, a bit of story within itself in terms of character and sound. Now, what's happening to the top is not following on the offbeat every single time. But what it's doing, it's anchoring to this main bass by making sure that occasionally it's hitting on the offbeat at the same time. Or else rhythmically it can become quite complex. See, for example, the first one we're playing right here is playing at the same time. So there's no rhythmic complexity here. It's very straightforward. This will work. And then there's right here. And then the next one is right here. See, it's exactly on the beat, on the offbeat, exactly when the anchor is happening. Let's call this anchor. There's one right here. There's one right here, and it goes on. It's not every single note that's being played at the same time, but some of them are, which basically tells the rhythms, the complementing rhythms, to work together. Now, if I just simply lay a rhythm on top of it, and if it's too complex, with that rhythm, including the rhythm that we have, it's going to be too hard to actually feel the bass sounding right. It's not going to groove right. It's going to be too complex for the human ear to properly get into it. Remember, simplicity is very important. So by anchoring the timing here, we're allowing ourselves to step away from that timing occasionally and play the other notes, like these ones here, and add a slight melody to it. So it actually works. Now, not only can you do that, you can also add movement when it comes to sound design. Let me just open up the plugin. Like modulation means when we actually take a knob and open it up and close it through time. We have an LFO. We could make it a bit more square sounding. We could detune it a bit. We could do a lot of different stuff to be able to add modulation to the sound. But overall, like what's important here is that we're able to add the dancey kind of, we're kind of having fun with a melody, and see like the melody here is not changing. It's actually the same note. And then we're creating harmonies here whenever these notes come in to create that sense of movement, that sense of melody, that sense of also steady danceability, right? If we had a rhythm that was very far off from what's happening here, it was going to create natural dissonance in terms of rhythm. It's not going to feel right. It's definitely not going to groove, and people are definitely not going to vibe it. So what's important here? With the steady kick, we have the offbeat as an anchor. On top of the offbeat, we have another layer of bass that's moving more freely. But it's not fully free. It's still anchored in as the first note, the second note, the third, the first note, the third note, the fifth note in this case. Find notes that you could anchor in so there's some sense of cohesiveness, and then in between you could occasionally add additional notes to be able to push and pull the melody, the bass line, and create a stability within the slight complexity you're adding. I'm going to play this one more time so you guys could hear it in action. So that's it. That is a 2-layer bass method. There's way more different ways to write bass, but it's something that I wanted to share with you guys because I was recently working on this track, and I'm like, I need to make a video about this because it's really cool. It's pretty easy to do, and there's fundamentally we're simplifying rhythms, which has to do with the compositional fundamentals. And talking about fundamentals and composition, we help producers by mentoring them to sound professional. And a lot of the work that we do is we focus on fundamentals. There's 3 fundamentals that are very important. Composition. This rhythmic issue falls in composition, sound design, and storytelling. And once you understand these fundamentals at a very, very high level, of course, there's a lot of sub-layers to these. Once you understand these 3 fundamentals, your tracks are going to sound better. It's funny because a lot of producers come to me and say, Vardy, if my mix sounded better, my track would be professional. Well, that's really not true. If your fundamentals were stronger, the mixing work would be easy for you to sound professional. So this is a big misconception in the industry. And I want to go back to that because we help producers in different aspects, both in the engineering aspect and in the compositional aspect as well, and the fundamentals. This is a fundamental which is related to composition, and it's super important to properly get it because if we add too many layers of rhythm, it becomes too complex for the ear to understand properly, and then it's just going to become messy and muddy, which is a mixing term, but it's because of the composition. So we got to fix this. Now, if you need any type of like customized help for your situation, if you need someone to look into your DAW, if you need to speak to a professional to see like where you are right now and what could be the next step for you, if you are serious. If you're not serious, you're just having fun and whatever, then don't bother. But if you're serious about really getting to a professional standard, book a call with us. There's a link down below, and then we'll just have a chat. It's a free call for us to get to know you and see what would be best. Hope this was helpful. See you guys soon.